Hello and welcome to the channel, everybody. This is a new type of video that I'm doing. I don't really too often do Minecraft videos, but it is one of my favorite games, so every now and then you will probably see it on the channel, because I like it. So this is a fun concept that I've kind of been playing around with. The first I saw of it was on Xisuma channel. He's a prominent figure in the YouTube Minecraft community. He does a lot of Let's Plays, tutorials, and such, and in his latest series of Hermitcraft, he demonstrated a way that you could use trapdoors as a type of piping for items and water streams. And I wanted to take that concept a little bit further, and this is what I came up with. I was kind of mostly just playing around with things, and here's kind of what we ended up with. Control. There we go. Whatever, good enough. And so what this is just a way to transport items in a really fun and simple manner that doesn't involve lots of hoppers. It hopefully doesn't involve lots of lag, and yeah, it's just a simple, fun little thing. And yeah, things just go around in a circle, and you can do all sorts of various fun things with them. They'll just keep on flowing until they despawn. Now, here's a couple advantages with these that you wouldn't see in other types of things. First of all, we're all kind of tired of seeing plain glass little elevators. You know, it's pretty simple. There's not a lot to it. It doesn't require a lot of thought or anything, really. You just build a glass pillar, fill it full of water, and that's it. Now, with the kelp blocks, it does make it a little bit simpler to make bubble elevators, because you just do that, and then you get yourself some soul sands, and break that, and break that. And there you go. You have a bubble elevator. But with the trapdoors, you have 6 different options to make your bubble elevators a little bit more interesting, and to make your item transport a little bit more interesting. So, first off, I think it looks a lot nicer. You have 6 different options to choose from. The simplest being oak trapdoors. Seen it before. You have spruce trapdoors, which are more interesting. They kind of got like this barrel texture with the 2 metal braces and then the vertical planks. You got birch trapdoors, which kind of has a nice little screen in the front of it. It's pretty simple. It's clean looking. Very uniform and very tiled. Then you got the jungle trapdoors, which is my 3rd favorite. And then, yeah, it's got this nice little hole in the center. You can see through it, which is one of 3 that you're able to see through. Then you have the chocolate trapdoors, which is, I don't know, if you're building a Willy Wonka chocolate factory, maybe this is the bubble elevator for you. See, I'm Augustus Gloop, just riding up the chocolate stream. Not a euphemism. Then you got your Acacia Trapdoors, which is by far my favorite. The reason for this is it just has a nice red look. It looks slightly industrial. It kind of looks like rusted iron pipes. And that's what I really like about it. It's also arguably the most see-through of all of them, aside from glass. So that's why I'd say it's my favorite. So, with this concept, this one being with my favorite option, this is kind of what I went with for item transports and systems like that. Now, these have a lot of different components that you're able to use and work with, as well as just design aesthetics. It's really very versatile, and you can do a lot with it. This is just a simple little loop thing that I built to show off what it's capable of. Right about here, what you can do with it is close that off, and now it'll go to the ends. It'll fall down here, and it'll go this way now. So it's pretty easy to divert items if you want to. It's pretty easy just move around things if you want to. Now you see how they stopped right there. Now you can change that up, and they'll go back this way. Now that's kind of interesting because this blocks off, so you probably want to find a way to fix that, maybe with a piston or something. Whatever works for you, really. There's a lot of versatility to this. You don't have to have entirely trapdoors. You can use other blocks as well, so you're not just limited to those. Then you got little item jumps, which are pretty fun. where there we go. Okay, yeah, they just jump up like this. They're able to jump into different item streams. And then this right here is a really simple, interesting concept where it's basically just a 1-drop increase. No, it's just a simple 1-drop upwards and then just a straight line. And what that does is it slows items down and clumps them together. If you have high volume intersections or high volume farms running, it's a really simple way to group up items so there's less lag and less entities in the world. So on top of that, I'll go through all the various components that I came up with. I'm sure there's plenty more that other people will think of and that anyone will come up with. I'm sure they've been thought of before, but I'll go through them. Also, this is a really simple little thing I thought of as well. It's just a simple little bubble elevator. You're right up to the top, and instead of bouncing when you get to the top, look, there's a trapdoor, and you stop yourself, and you don't bounce. Unlike over here, where you go over here, it's you get to the top of this, and you're just bouncing. So, I thought that was cool. First, and the simplest concept that I thought of was just some simple little conduit sleeves and kind of piping sleeves that you can use to make it look more realistic, give it more of a bracing feel, and make it look more sturdy. Here you have the... Here you have some acacia ones to match the color and the texture of your trapdoors. Again, we're just going to go with acacia for the main ones, because that's what I like and what I think fits best. So you just do a simple little circle around, and this can be used as a transition between item streams or in between sections of your piping. Next up is nether brick. I think that in certain contexts it could be used for a nice effect. You got your iron rusted pipe look, and then you have some other purplish industrial bricks or something like that. Maybe it's going to a smeltery or something. It's really up to you what you want to do with it. Then maybe more fantasy style, you have your purple blocks. And again, I'm going with different shapes as well to show how you can possibly do that. Purple, I don't really see any, well, maybe too many uses for that, but I just wanted to show it. Bricks look pretty nice with it. It kind of matches in color as close as possible. Aside from the acacia itself, it's probably the closest in color gradient and match. Then, as far as the best contrasting colors for it, I would probably go with dark prismarine, because that seems to look the best with it. And then, of course, you got your brick, which is stone brick, which is what everyone goes with. Okay, moving on, I think we'll go on to some more component-type things that you can use in this sort of piping system and item transport system. So first off, the main thing that I've shown is the simple elevator. You just got a piece of soul sands and surrounded by trapdoors. It's really simple and really easy to do. What you do, even in survival, I won't fly, I'm in creative right now, but I won't fly, is you just hold down shift and you press jump, and then you're able to stack upwards. Pretty simple. And then when you get to the desired height, whatever that might be, you just hold down right click, and down you go. And then you go to the other side, same thing, just jump, 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 jump. And this is probably going to be easier for you if you have a haste 2 beacon around. Okay, it's nice and simple. You just give yourself a jump boost effect, go back to what you were doing. Don't get distracted and forget how to give effects instead of building a huge giant beacon base. And see, you can stack twice as fast, roughly, and go down. Nice and simple. And back up. Jump boost beacons are very, very helpful for building in general. And once you're done with that, you place your water bucket down first. Water bucket. Yeah, just give yourself however many pieces of kelp you need for the size of building you're going for. And then you'd go to the top of this, place any block down, and You don't want to place a block inside of this unless you want to use a trapdoor right here. Then you can shift, hold that down, and then you can go down here. And then just stack up with your kelp. Like that. Go down, and break block, and place block. There you go. Simple elevator. And yeah, again, it's easier with a jump boost beacon. Yep. Next up is your input method. And now this can be anything really. It can be directly from a farm. It can be from a dropper. It can be from a dispenser. Whatever you want, really. And right here, we just have a simple little clicky. It just shoots one item at a time. It goes up through the item stream, goes all around, and has a grand old time. Next up is probably a little bit simpler and easier to manage. Is this right here. You can have an auto input or a dual input. Then, in that case, you'd probably want to hook up a comparator clock to this to detect when this has items in it. And if you're getting items fast enough, you probably want a couple of these so that you can quickly and rapidly drop items. And this is set up so that it'll shoot out 2 items at a time. It'll collect 2 items at a time. And yeah, this will always be dropping 2 items at a time. And this speed of this clock will be able to keep up with the 2 items at a time input. 2 items at a time. Did I say that enough? Next up is probably a simple basic item slide. So water in Minecraft only is able to travel 8 blocks. After that, it just completely stops all items that are going through it. Not really much else to that. So to work around that, you need to have some sort of block that the items can slide on. In this case, I'm using packed ice. I'm not using regular ice because that has the potential to melt if you're working around light sources. And I'm not using the blue ice because that's expensive. Now with packed ice, it has something interesting with it. If I go over here to my ender chest, I have a bunch of tools. Yep, there we go. That's outdated. I think I made this a while back before mending books were a thing. So let's go into survival mode, and I'll show what this counts for and what you can do with this. Okay, place your blocks. Yep, you break them. It breaks pretty fast. Now, if I try and break it by hand, it does not give me the block, which is very handy for building in item streams when you're working around hoppers. If you're working around hoppers, maybe there's points in time where you don't want to be able to pick up items, or you don't want any items dropping in your item filters. So, in that case, I would suggest using a some sort of pickaxe that does not have any sort of item drop. That's not Silk Touch. So, instant break, and no items or entities dropped. Now, that's not the case with ice, regular ice, because if you break that with a regular pick, it's going to turn into water, which you don't want. Moving right along, and something that I forgot about, here's a nice and simple way to control where your items are going. It's just a simple repeater pointed directly into the block, and that is pointed directly into the hopper. It's not activating any... It's just a simple repeater pointed into a trapdoor. It's not activating any of the other trapdoors because it doesn't have a solid block or anything else to power. And then you just attach a lever to it, nice and simple, and you can put this wherever you need to, and it's got a lot of redstone applications available for you. Next up is the thing that I showed earlier. This is pretty interesting. What this is a item clumper, I call it. And what it does is it just simply clumps up items. So this is probably roughly going to be about 10 items at a time. If we go right here, we'll be able to see it. 10, there you go. Oh, 20, 30. Oh, that's pretty consistent. 41, oh, okay. Well, most of the time it's pretty consistent and pretty reliable, but the purpose of that is so that there's less items and entities going through your world at the same time. Hopefully it'll save a little bit on lag. I don't think that it matters too much, but it could be a useful little thing to slow down items and group them together. Now, that has its advantages and disadvantages. One, that it might clog up your sorting systems, or it might make it easier on your sorting systems. It really depends on what sort of sorting system you have going on. Next up is a simple item inserter. So anywhere along the line, you can just simply put some sort of pipe system, maybe one going overhead like this, and yeah, you just have something that inputs. Oop, nothing in there. Yeah, something that inputs, and it just drops like that. Now, what I have found is you got to kind of be careful about what's next to this, because these shoot out items at kind of a random rate. So you want to watch out to see what all is clicking into there, because eventually you're probably going to get some blocks stuck on there. So along with this, you're probably going to want to watch it just to make sure that nothing gets caught or anything, because if you're working with valuable items that you don't want to have any sort of drops in efficiency, then you really want to make sure that you're not losing anything. And that is to say, you probably don't want to be standing right next to these when this is going off, otherwise you're going to be picking up your items. Now, that, I would say, is the one main disadvantage that this sort of item collection system and item transport system has against regular glass and other item streams, is that you end up collecting the items even if you don't want to if you're standing right next to them. Moving along, we have the pipe sleeve, or the pipe support. It's really simple. It's more of an aesthetic type feature to this, but it could look nice, and it could be used to disguise certain other features, such as the item bundler or stuff like this. It's just a simple little thing that you use to put around the pipe and make it look nice. One other thing that I haven't showed before is these right here. I'm using these stripped acacia wood blocks to kind of cover up the areas where there's some sort of angle or curve, and you can't really fit trapdoors in the same block. Like, I couldn't put another trapdoor in this block, so yeah, I just stuck one of these here, and it seemed to work out okay. Next up, and probably the most significant of all of these, is the item sorter. So with this, it's pretty easy to do any sort of item sorting and any which way that you really want. So what you do is you just have your items going along, and yeah, they go into this, and what this does is it goes over a piece of ice, which keeps it flying along, and then when it hits this ender chest right here, it will align itself so that it's in both of the blocks at the same time. So the water can still push it along, but any blocks along this row, such as a hopper, are able to pick it up. Now, that's significant because you're able to keep the speed of your item stream, as well as be able to make a item sorter. These are much faster than simple sorters, just using hoppers alone. And yeah, they're just really convenient, really useful. These can be hooked up to whatever you want, whether it be some sort of shulker box sorter for high volume item streams, or maybe just some sort of furnace array, anything really. And yeah, that's really all I have as far as this goes. I'm sure there's lots more components. There's a lot more to this. I might make a follow-up video if you guys send me any hints or tips or tricks or anything like that. One more quick thing. I wanted to show off how close you can put these together. I know sometimes space is kind of an issue, so really the closest you want to be able to put these together is about 2 blocks apart. That's how much space you're working with, really. And yeah, this is probably the closest you'll ever get in this L shape. It's very similar to how sugarcane works, where it has to have a water source around it to make sure that it doesn't mess up or anything. You can't really have it any closer than that, otherwise it won't work. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Let me know if you guys have any more ideas or suggestions, or if you even like Minecraft ideas. This isn't really a channel that I've done a lot of that on, but it's one game that I really enjoy, and especially with this new update, I'm finding a lot of fun and new things to try out. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.